Hi, my name is Daniel Petrovik. I have lived in the British Virgin Islands for 16 years. I have a passion for the incredible wildlife of the BVI. And with my father, Clive Petrovic, we care for and rehabilitate injured wildlife here in the British Virgin Islands. The British Virgin Islands is a beautiful place and well deserving of its slogan, Nature's Little Secret. We have beautiful green hills and warm tropical waters that both residents and visitors enjoy. The tropical climate has created a diversity of plants, animals, and marine life. The natural beauty and wildlife are one of the main attractors of these islands. However, where humans and the natural environment meet, wildlife often suffers. The clearing of land for houses and roads sometimes injures wild animals. Boats can injure wildlife, especially power boats and their impact on sea turtles. We all are aware of how cars can injure animals. What different types of wildlife are injured in the British Virgin Islands? Birds. Sea turtles. Snakes and iguanas. Bats. Plus numerous other animal species. Who helps injured wildlife in the British Virgin Islands? The Police Department, Conservation and Fisheries, the Humane Society, National Parks Trust, vets, Agriculture Department, and private individuals. Our goal is to help injured animals and return them to the wild. The animals are given to us for rehabilitation. Rehabilitation involves taking care of injuries with treatment and medication, such as antibiotics, vitamins, and minerals, a healthy diet, and of course, safe housing to protect the animals and proper equipment. Ozzy the Osprey. This osprey was found on November 3rd on a sailing boat in North Sound, Virgin Gorda. When we received the osprey, it was in a cardboard box and was thought to be a seagull. The osprey had a badly bruised right wing and a concussion. The wing injury, we guess, is from the osprey flying into the rigging of a sailboat. The concussion was probably from falling and landing on the deck. This is already an adult osprey, as we know from its plumage. Our goal is to rehabilitate the wing and release the osprey back into the wild where it belongs. The osprey is our largest bird of prey, standing 25 plus inches high and a wing spread of 5 feet. The osprey is a migratory winter resident in the BVI and breeds as far north as Canada. The osprey feeds exclusively on fish. They have unique feet with extra long talons and rough scales to better grip wet, slippery fish. When flying with a fish, they can dislocate their feet to orient the fish forwards and reduce drag whilst improving balance. On November 13th, my father and I, and the osprey, set off to Joost van Dyke Primary School to educate the children about these magnificent birds. They were all eager and ready to learn. They had great questions, and I believe they learned a lot while enjoying the experience. Luckily, we had a great bird with an even better personality who just sat there and did as it was told. The osprey has a 5.5-foot wingspread. It can only eat fish, and it's a migratory winter resident. Igor, the red-tailed hawk. This red-tail was found at the bottom of Joe's Hill with a severely broken wing. We think it either hit a telephone wire or was hit by a car. The wing bones were completely shattered and the bird will never fly again. The best we could do was to treat the infection and save the bird's life. The red-tailed hawk is the BVI's largest permanent resident bird of prey. It's commonly known as the chicken hawk, but in reality most of its diet consists of lizards, snakes, insects, and rats. The frigate bird. Frigate bird often get caught in fishing line and are often prone to injury. This was an injured frigate bird given to us by the Conservation and Fisheries Department. This frigate bird had an injured foot. We treated the infection and rehabilitated the bird over about a 2.5-week period. Once it made a full recovery, we were able to release it back into the wild. The frigate bird is locally called the scissortail for its long forked tail. This bird has a 7-foot wingspread and is related to the pelican. They feed on a variety of marine life and often steal fish from gulls and terns. This is the End of the Line campaign by the National Parks Trust and Jost Van Dyke Preservation Society, headed by Susan Zalewski. The goal of the campaign is to educate fishermen and the general public about the hazards of discarded fishing line to these seabirds. Here we have an article from the All at Sea Caribbean Magazine, October 2012 edition. It shows the SOS End of the Line campaign. Also, it explains what to do if you accidentally hook the seabird. Please, show your support and take the sticker. Put it on your car or boat or any vehicle. Chirpy, the mangrove cuckoo. This mangrove cuckoo was found as an abandoned nestling by Zach Pasco. When small, we fed it a mixture of dog food, egg yolk, laced with vitamins, and lots of insects. In nature, mangrove cuckoos eat primarily insects and lizards. The first time we released the bird, it returned to our back garden, chirping for food. We took it back in and fed it another week or so before releasing it again. As the bird got used to its life in the wild, we would still see it regularly in the trees around our house. As it chirped to me from a nearby tree branch, I couldn't help but think he was thanking me for saving his life. Even today, long after he was returned to the wild, whenever I hear a mangrove cuckoo in the trees around my house, I wonder if it is him. What kinds of animals are most prone to injury? The fruit bat. We put this bat in the tree at night, and by morning he was gone. The Virgin Islands tree boa, Epicrates monensis granti. We have many stories of rescuing the rare and endangered Virgin Islands tree boa. This native harmless snake rarely reaches 4 feet in length and is a wonderful rat catcher. We often rescue these snakes around people's houses and release them where they will be safe and return to their natural ecosystems. As well as any injured animals, such as the bridal quail dove, iguanas, bananaquits, red-billed tropic birds, and my favorite of all, the short-eared owl. Invasive species. Another threat to our natural wildlife comes from invasive species. Invasive species are non-native plants and animals that are accidentally or intentionally introduced into our ecosystems. Invasives can directly kill our native species or harm them by competing for food and living space. Good examples include the rat and the mongoose. A recent example that was in the news concerns a small ball python that was a stowaway in someone's luggage. This is a ball python, and it's native to Africa. It's commonly used in the pet trade, actually, because as you can see, it's a very beautiful snake. And also, this snake is one of the smallest pythons. It only grows to be about 6 feet maximum. As the human population continues to increase throughout the Virgin Islands, our native animals will experience even more stress and risk of injury. Whilst helping injured animals and returning them to the wild is important, education plays an equally important role in protecting our wildlife. In the British Virgin Islands, the Conservation and Fisheries Department, National Parks Trust, and Jost Van Dyke Preservation Society lead the way in educating the community. In the USVI, most of the responsibility falls under the local division of Fish and Wildlife Service and Coral World Ocean Park. In particular, Coral World has technical expertise and excellent facilities to care for their native animals.
We have small cages, larger cages. We have real big cages we can use. As far as marine animals go that need water, we have 3 pools, varying from about 300 gallons up to about 5,000 gallons. We have a rehab pool that is out for if we had a really large turtle or something like that. We have a rehab pool that houses 2 of our turtles normally, but if we needed that pool for a larger animal, we could move the girls back into the back and separate them out.
Over the years, Coral World has rescued, rehabilitated, and released many sea turtles. What should you do if you find an injured animal in the USVI?
First thing they should do is, assess the situation, make sure that nothing additional is going to happen to the animal while you're actually getting help. And as far as, with the Animal Fish and Wildlife Service and DPNR enforcement has on-call all the time. And if they're not the right people, they know who to call. For like sea turtles in the USVI, STAR does everything. It's one number for all 4 of the U.S. Virgin Islands.
What should you do if you find an injured animal in the British Virgin Islands? You should throw a towel over it or get it in some kind of container or box so that it is dark and it will calm the animal down. Then you should contact the Conservation and Fisheries Department, the Humane Society or Animal Shelter, Department of Agriculture, the National Parks Trust, Joost van Dyke Preservation Society, the Police Department, or Clive Petrovic, which you can reach at these 2 phone numbers or this email listed above. All in all, the British Virgin Islands is nature's little secrets, and it requires all of our efforts to keep it that way. Now, let's all work together to keep our native animals in the wild where they belong.